Hey everybody, I'm Josh McFall, the CEO of the North Alabama MLS, the Huntsville Area Association of Realtors. Thanks for being with us today on this Facebook Live. Sorry we're about 15 minutes late. Grayson and his team had a lot of good things to say to a packed room of realtors here for the Acre Engage series.
What a great morning.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I got to sit in on a part of that. I'm here with a special guest today, Grayson Glaze, who's the Executive Director at the Alabama Center for Real Estate. Grayson and I have known each other for about 6 years or so now. And he has been at the center for about 10 years, right? Congratulations on a 10-year anniversary.
Last month, yes sir.
And the center's celebrating 20 years.
20 years, we're in our 21st year now.
21st year. That is fantastic. They're a great resource. I'm sure all of you have seen some of the resources that Grayson and his team provide out to the media through reports and statistical analysis for housing reports, and also the great education that they provide around the state at local associations. Many of your associations that are watching have probably seen Grayson and talked with him about that. So Grayson, thanks for joining us for a few minutes
It's an honor and blessing to be here, Josh.
Yeah,
thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely, you do a fantastic job with that. So let's jump off with kind of the state of the housing market right now. So Grayson just gave a great update to the group about kind of where we've been and where we're going. You talk to us about North Alabama kind of in general, what you're seeing, from your seat, and kind of what your thoughts are.
Well, the market continues to be solid, that's for sure. Certain it's an expansion mode, like you hear here and there. Yes, there is somewhat of a lack of supply. The market sure could use at this particular point. But I would say this: Huntsville is in this area is the only market across the state that's seeing double-digit growth this year through August.
Yeah, we're thankful for that too.
Absolutely.
The numbers that just came out, which I'm sure all of you saw, showed units down about 1,000 units year over year, and we've seen that consistently go down. How does that relate to what's going on around the state as far as the inventory, of what's actually available out there? Are you seeing other markets that are experiencing similar?
Yes, Josh. Every market, whether you're looking at the top 5 major markets or the mid-sized markets, there is an inventory issue.
I saw
just trying to work through.
Yeah, I saw just yesterday that the National Association of Realtors published an article by Lawrence Yoon, the chief economist, and Lawrence was making the case about the need for more supply nationwide. Especially in those price points that are so appealing to so many buyers with that. So he was making the case specifically to Congress about encouraging that growth like we saw post-war in the 50s.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that as far as the Alabama
I would agree with
market
Lawrence.
goes?
Also, not necessarily quote Alabama quite yet, but there is a evolving affordability issue that's coming around, and so that's a huge impact, emphasis, at every level, local, state, national. So we certainly have our eye on that. But as far as I agree with Lawrence, inventory it will continue to be a huge issue. We definitely need more new supply, new home construction, and also basically folks existing home sales listing their property as well.
Yeah, it's a great time to be there. So if we look at kind of where we're landing right now, so inventory's down. We talked a lot about that, but that's also driving days on market to take a deep dive, which we're liking, as an association and as an industry. What do you think is bringing those buyers, just from, you can be speculative or not answer the question at all, but those buyers are coming from somewhere, right? And they're deciding now, putting the skids on.
It kind of goes back to, if you recall, a couple words, consumer confidence. The consumer is confident now. Think about unemployment. Where is it? It's down.
Right.
Okay. Think about wage growth. It's starting to trick up.
Yeah.
Think about here in North Alabama, all the positive news with economic development, workforce development, new industry. It just makes for a stronger consumer.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
They're starting to walk with their boots on the ground.
We like that.
They're confident.
It makes us all feel better. If the housing industry is strong, then other industries are also going to follow along with it, and we'll all walk in stride, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the housing industry is 15% of GDP, either side of that. So that's huge. Think about related.
Yeah.
It's a big portion.
So you guys put out, at Acre, put out a lot of reports, and I know Realtor Confidence, similar to what an AR puts out for a nationwide, you're doing that for the entire state, right? And what are you seeing in that confidence report right now?
It ranges between 55 and 60, Huntsville being on the high end.
Okay.
Now, the magic number is 50. Anything below 50 is really signals maybe a contraction in the market, a downturn. Everyone needs to remember there is such things as a real estate cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, and a business cycle. And so we're seeing, that the practitioner is still confident in the market. There is concerns, again, getting back to the inventory.
Right.
There needs to be a product to sell. But
there's often that fear about that market correction,
yes.
too, in a market that's this strong on that.
That's something
on that, or?
Nationally, yes. I mean, there is fear that it's getting hotter and hotter, and we cannot ignore that. So it's the area that we're studying. And so, you look at your growth here, North Alabama, annual appreciation anywhere between 4 and 5%. That's a little bit above the norm. And there has been significant appreciation in the last 3 to 5 years. There's no doubt about it. And but it's just something that we have to keep an eye on. And we definitely, beginning in 18, will be trying to make sure there's no one can spot the market. It's a downturn, but it's something that everyone at the Real Estate Center is focused on moving forward.
Yeah. You guys put out a trend report for all of the major, 20 or so markets around the state?
Markets. We track it, Josh, monthly, quarterly, annually. We also do an affordability index this quarterly.
Where can they find that?
At our website at acre.culverhouse.ua.edu.
Okay, so we can put that link maybe in the
absolutely
in the comments below, and that way they can link to it. And what in that? Tell me about those trend lines and those forecasts. How's that going? What's happening in that? What are you seeing?
We're still seeing favorable positive trends.
Right.
Okay. Without question. And I want to point out to the folks who are looking that whether it's Athens or the Shoals or Marshall County or Jackson County or Huntsville, talking about the real estate's website, we have a specific web page for each market.
Okay. What do they find?
Graphs. They'll find a snapshot, how the market is performing right now versus a year ago, which, Josh, that's the correct way to look at a market, is looking year over year, apples to apples, not necessarily how did August do versus July.
Right.
So you go there, snapshot, August versus last August. Then you have options for reports, monthly, quarterly, annually. And then you have the little section right there that shows you the interactive graphs. And there's a ton of resources below or your phone. It has to work on the phone, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
what a great resource,
yes, everything's up to date. And
so if you don't know, Acre was founded by the University of Alabama, and then a partnership between the Alabama Association of Realtors
and the Real Estate
Commission, and still those are your partners going forward and provided as a resource.
Our core purpose is to be a relevant resource for the state of Alabama's real estate industry, and typically it's research, education, and outreach.
Yeah, and you do a fantastic job of that. Let's talk about price, because we touched on it just a little bit a few minutes ago. So you touched on affordability, as a concern kind of down the road, which is always a topic moving forward. In the North Alabama, in our MLS specifically, we've seen year over year since last year sold prices go up about 5%, which is a good return back on that. But moving forward, when you're looking at forecasting and making those kind of projections moving forward, what do you guys think about that continued upward growth of that and that price? Will there be a plateau soon? What's your? I mean, you can speculate, or you can.
Well, this cut it two ways. Near term, I think the near term is next year.
Okay.
Okay. So I would not be surprised if we saw the 5% again. Now, as we get beyond 19, 20, there should be a gradual flattening out a little bit more. I'm not thinking 5%.
Right.
And honestly, if you gave me 2.5 year after year, I'd take it.
Happy, right?
Absolutely.
I think we'd all be really happy with that.
And so, but for next year, from everything that we're looking at and studying, it would not surprise me if it came in at 5% either side of that next year again.
You made some.
It gets back to supply and demand.
Yeah, as does every industry for sure. You made some correlations at the end of your talk a few minutes ago about kind of some big overarching factors in the housing market, things like millennials and seniors entering the market kind of in droves with that, and we're seeing a lot of that in the North Alabama market there. And then you even made a speculation about 62% proposed growth in the next 5 years in the South specifically. Right. That's the whole southern region of the United States. Right. On that, when you're looking at forecasting and thinking about all those factors that you were talking about, how do those play into when you're looking down the road for either a year or 5 years even?
Well, obviously you certainly take into account. So it's very important. You think about Huntsville and where you've been, where you're going, the industry, everything ties in to some of the things we talked about. The job growth, income wages increasing, just the livability of Huntsville in North Alabama. Right. It's an awesome place to live. And so, if that's the case, Josh, are you going to be attracting millennials? Yes, you are. Yeah. Are you going to be attracting seniors, empty nesters? Yes, you are. Mm-hmm. And so it's very diverse, and that's what I like most about North Alabama's market is diversity.
The national forecast says there'll be about 5.3 million new homeowners, but you said about maybe 7.2 million more renters in that too, which is a concern for our industry, moving forward as well, that we would, not become a nation of renters with that. What's your thoughts on that?
I certainly don't think we're going to be a nation of renters, but I do feel like home ownership will trend flat, a little down. I think every market, needs to have a little bit of both. I mean, it makes sense. It's all about having shelter first, as you know, and home ownership is very, very important to every market, but all things in balance. And I don't think that this market is going to be, quote, a market of renters anytime soon, or any market across the state.
You heard it here first. You've got a major announcement that's coming on October 2nd. We'll wrap up with that. A really exciting thing happening at the center. Tell us about it.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. We are very, very excited to announce the first chance the center's had an opportunity to hire a chief economist as our director of research. His name is Casey Conway. He has a distinguished 30-year career in real estate, both commercial and residential. He has a MAI designation, CRE. He routinely briefs the Fed. He is just going to be a quantum leap of expertise at the center, which really means that our goal of being a resource is going to be able to be that much stronger for you and your colleagues.
Yeah, that's fantastic news. Thank you for leading the way in that on the 20th anniversary on that. Grayson, we appreciate you being with us today. Thanks for everybody for tuning in with that. You want to say the website one more time?
Yeah, it's acre.culverhouse.ua.edu.
Fantastic. So go visit that. We'll put it in the links down below. Hope you have a great afternoon.
Have a great day. Thank you.